Welcome to the non-podcast Real Talk Roundtable. This is about our second time around. And I welcome you to take your life back and more. I'm Leslie. I'm Dr. Leslie, and my co-hosts are Jamie and Chelsea. I facilitate the Take Your Life Back and More program, and we got a couple of them going on right now. Time to go ahead and join. Oh gosh, balloons and everything. I just love it. Still have another start date, February 24th. Okay. So just in case you wanna join, just give me a holler. All right. So our monthly topic is self-love. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. And I know the guys are probably turning the show off, you especially, Juan and Andrew and Michael and let's see, who else do I have? Rob. Okay, so all of you, and if I didn't call your name, I don't mean anything by that. All right, so so first of all, talking about self-love is kind of an odd thing if you haven't done it before or haven't when I heard love love at the beginning of my healing, I hated the sound of love because I didn't feel good enough about myself or felt unlovable. So that word love just reminded me of that. But with just kind of to take the concept of self-love to a kind of an easy place to understand. It's about acknowledging your own value and your needs. Okay, so it's standing up for yourself and what you need, and knowing where you have value. So, how's that, ladies?
I like it.
Where do we want to start? Okay, so why don't we start with how does a self-love deficit show up in your life? Okay. So I know I'm on a self-love deficit day when I'm comparing what I look like to other people. Either I'm feeling I'm feeling overweight, or I'm not, my shoes aren't polished, or I'm feeling little, just overwhelmed, and I'm comparing their outsides with my insides. Okay. I know that self-love deficit has shown up. When I'm procrastinating, I think too. And the thing that happens is that I don't feel like I'm gonna get stuff done right, or I'm not gonna be good enough, or people are gonna have some criticism for me. I'm getting into that perfectionism. And so I put stuff off and don't do it right away. So that's how it shows up. Hey, you want to take it from here, Miss Jamie? I'll go, Jamie.
Yeah, I think that rings true for me too. I think that when I'm having a day where something that I'm in charge of has gone wrong, I end up with a huge self-love deficit. All I can think about is like the silly little thing that I could have done right to catch that mistake. And it especially sucks the most when someone else is impacted by like something that I've messed up. And so in situations like that, I just kind of go and hide and lay in my bed and ignore my phone and pretend that I don't exist. And I don't love that. That's not a fun time. But yeah, that's definitely sometime that I have a self-love deficit. And I actually never even thought of it as a self-love deficit until just 30 seconds ago, when you kind of brought that up. But that's definitely how it feels. I really relate to that.
Yeah, everyone struggles with perfectionism and sometime in their life, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, and by
How
the
about
way,
you, Chelsea?
happy Valentine's Day. I got all my red on it. I forgot to say happy Valentine's Day. Okay, Jill.
How do I know that when I have a self-love deficit? That was the prompt for this.
Yeah.
So I would say that it definitely shows up when I catch myself being mean to myself. So the way that I work with my self-love is like there's a lot of pillars and we'll probably get into that, but it's very easy to like slip back into bad habits, but a lot of times I won't notice it until kind of similar to you, Jamie. I'll like make a mistake at work or I'll have a tough time figuring something out. And it's almost like I'm yelling at myself in my brain, like, why can't you just do it? Like, why can't you just figure it out? Like, why don't we just know already? And that is probably one of the biggest indicators that I'm in a self-love deficit is when those like old narratives kind of come up and they're just louder than normal. That's it.
So what do you do when that happens? Maybe explore a couple of ways to come out of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing I do is really like just notice the narrative that's kind of popping out. So it sounds kind of silly, but it's even as simple as like writing it down. Because a lot of times when I can physically see like what it is that I'm saying it to myself, I can usually identify that like, that's actually not mine. That's like
Mhm.
something like my mom would say, for example, things like that. And then also while that's happening, I'm like, okay, what vulnerabilities do I kind of have right now? Like, are there any holes in my armor at the moment that kind of make me a little bit more susceptible to some negative feelings? And more often than not, I'm like, oh yeah, I slept like shit. Like, or I definitely did not like, I missed a whole part of my self-care morning type deal. Um, so once I kind of identify those couple of things with the narrative and where my vulnerabilities are, that helps me a ton with being able to not get rid of the negative feelings, but more so like move through them and reintroduce compassion for myself in those kinds of moments.
Yeah, awesome. You brought up a number of different things. Thanks. The one thing that I heard is that you connect the dots. So it's not always what you're thinking about yourself. It's something that came from a long time ago, how your parent talked to you and told you, that, had the disapproval of something that you did or something in that way, or an ex, a narcissistic mate
Yeah.
or somebody like that. And the other thing, to bring in that self-compassion, because I think that is a really one quicker way to kind of bounce out of that. It's hard. It's hard, but if you practice self-compassion and you know what it feels like and looks like, that if you can grab pieces of that, I mean that I certainly recover faster if I can do that. I I don't
Yeah.
always I don't always recover in the moment. I have to leave the room sometimes to do that. But yeah. So
Yeah. I
any
feel comfortable to
good.
share something off the back of that. So it's not a plug for your program, but that was literally, I learned self-compassion because I had so much empathy for other people that was like, based off of the lack of self-love that I have. I was just like, I care so much about other people, like la la la. But it's almost like when I was listening to people have similar stories to me and like I immediately had that compassion for what they were going through. That's what actually taught me self-love, like in those moments and what it could feel like in a cycle. The way that I care about my friends should be the exact same way that I like give a shit about myself.
Yay, and I think it was a plug for my program. Yeah. So everybody can check it out.
100%.
And Jamie, were you thinking of any ways in which you can bounce out of that self-love deficit place?
Gosh, I'm trying to think of it, and I'm actually probably the worst person to talk to about self-love, even though I'm a graduate of the program, because I do still just like pressure myself to, and whether it's like realistic or not, like I really struggle with not pressuring myself to just like push through it and get the thing done and figure it out and all of that. But one way that, I have noticed kind of helps me if I'm in that place is just kind of talking about it out loud, like with my friend or my husband or something like that. And just like kind of speaking about it logically and being like, oh yeah, you know what? I should go just like take a nap. Or like maybe it's not the biggest deal in the world if the like floor has dog hair on it or something like that. And I actually have to give myself permission to chill out and like be cool with myself. And so I usually am able to just kind of take a couple, like take a breather and relax a little bit more. Just like talking about it logically, just like you said, Chelsea, because like I wouldn't talk to my friend like that. I wouldn't be like, hey, your hairy floor with
Yeah.
the dog doesn't work for me,
Remember
you
that
know?
minor mistake you made? Embarrassing.
Yeah,
Embarrassing.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Or like, or the friend can be like, fuck that bitch. Like, we don't need, like,
Yeah.
that
I
kind of
just
thing.
thought of
Or,
something that when you were talking to Jamie, because I know you, but what I was thinking about myself though, I got that when I'm trying to be someone else, more confident than I'm feeling inside, or try to be somebody else, that's when that self deficit comes in pretty strong, So
Mhm.
something that I'll say, Jamie, you do really well, and I do too, is to be, and Chelsea as well, be our authentic self. And you can, when you turn that off and and bring up that authentic self, you're not as beating up on yourself, or
Mhm.
disapproving or critical or any of that. So I was just
Yeah.
thinking about that.
Definitely, definitely. And I think that that's probably what helps me when I'm talking with like my friends and loved ones and stuff like that, is like I have such an easy time being myself with the people that I love. And so to be able to talk through it and just like realize that it's not the biggest deal in the world, and I don't have to hate myself for whatever, buying the wrong cottage cheese or something. Like, it's always dumb stuff. Like, but it
Yeah.
definitely does help.
What
You just
about
gotta
in
give
those?
yourself more credit, Jamie. Like I you
No,
gotta give
I
yourself
don't
credit.
cry
And
over the
I mean
cottage cheese in real life.
I just mean like in the sense of like I have a hard time talking to people about the mistakes that I've made because I carry so much shame about them. So I think it's really
Mhm.
cool that you're able to actually like go to people that you love and like get that perspective and help you like come back into your body and help you like see the logic in it, if you will, but it's just perspective.
Mhm.
And that's really cool
Oh.
that you have people that you can turn to. That's really nice.
Oh, definitely. I'm so blessed in that way. And yeah, it's true. Thank you. Thank you for that encouragement.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so what do we need to do in those relationships that are close to us that help us feel that self-love? Okay, so they're pounding on us, either disapproving or critical or controlling. What do we need to do then? What is that? What is that word? Yes, yes, yes,
They are hard.
yes.
I struggle with boundaries.
So if
Um,
we do them right, if we do
yeah,
them right, it actually feels like a big shower of self-love. It just
yeah,
feels like a shower of
Mhm.
self-love.
it,
So
yeah, it definitely does. Because it kind of feels like, it almost feels like sticking up for yourself is like the closest I can equate it to. And so it's almost like little me is getting like really upset, and then like big sister me is like, well, we can communicate about this, here's a boundary, dad. Even if the dad doesn't listen, I say this because this is a real experience that I've had in the last like couple of weeks. So even if they don't necessarily take it, I then feel completely secure and justified and not scared and not shameful at all by hanging up the phone when that boundary gets crossed. And that's for me, that's like definitely a pouring into that love cup, if you
yeah,
will.
that's awesome. That is so awesome. I remember the first time I actually stood up for myself. And
Yeah.
it was a long time ago, but I was a waitress in a restaurant, and I told the supervisor, I do not respond to people putting fingers in my face. And so, and it was the supervisor. So everybody like stopped in their tracks. And I must have said it with a lot of strength, because they all they all looked at me like I was the king of the Shoney's restaurant, right? It was like so
That's
fun,
so funny.
so
I've
fun.
had fingers in my face before, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I just, who does
I
that?
skipped away to my therapist office. You never guess what I did. And I've been following in that trend all of my life. I think that might have been about 35 years ago. So it was pretty cool. So let's share some stories, I guess, that you have in times that you felt like you really did it. You really did practice that self-love when you had question or a challenge or anything. Anybody?
I've got one right now. So I've been having, me and my husband both have been having kind of a rough start to the new year. And so I've been trying to like do 100 things and advocate for myself, advocate for him, like do all the things that I would do for a friend. And then I'm at work and I'm in this training program at work, and I have my appointment with Leslie on Tuesdays at 9. And so I email them, hey, I've got this appointment Tuesday at 9. And then they actually didn't like respond to my email. Instead, they addressed the entire class and were like, oh, training is number one and it's the most important thing in your life. And da, 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 da. And so then I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. That felt directed at me. And so I actually like sent another email saying like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm still not going to be here. And then they're like, well, we were hoping you could reschedule that. And I'm like, you know what? No, we're not going to reschedule my therapy appointment. We're going to go to the therapy appointment and I'm going to see you guys at 10 o'clock after it's over. And so just like advocating for myself and saying like, no, you can't push me around like that, putting my mental health first. That I was really proud of myself, because normally I would try and bend over backwards, but you know what, this month, no, I'm going to therapy this month.
All right.
As someone in the training field and as a learning professional, that's effed up.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but
Training is the most important thing in
because
your
I
life.
held
What
that
a
boundary, like
crazy statement.
What's that?
I said training is the most important thing in your life right now. What an incredible statement to make.
I know, right? But
Yeah.
like I feel so good about myself because I stood up for myself and I advocated for myself, and I was like, I'm not gonna consider training the most important thing in my life, because it's not. Like making sure that I'm a whole human is the most important thing in my life. And so just just get
Yeah.
out of here with that. It's
Yeah.
comical, just comical. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And it's like, what if it was a doctor's appointment that you made like weeks in advance? This is
it
a doctor's
is.
appointment. That's what I'm saying.
It is
Like
a doctor's appointment I made months
bananas.
ago.
Bananas. First of all, good for you. Bravo. We love that for you. The example, I'll just talk about the one that I just did with my dad. So my dad has like, for context, he's a boomer, God love him. And he has a really hard time with me being in therapy, because he's got this perception that it basically is going to threaten whatever perception I had, what he thinks I had of him, and it's going to make him not perfect anymore. So he thinks that me going to therapy is going to make him look bad, basically, is the whole issue.
It
But
does.
it's like not even 100% bad. And
No,
also there's
parents
just
don't
like,
like therapy.
oh God. But his
It shows
solution
up.
to that,
His truth shows up. Yeah. Right. Good.
oh Lord. But my dad's solution to that was that he decided that he was going to tell me the top 5 reasons why my problems are not real problems and that I don't need therapy. And I was like, wow, if this isn't just all of it in a nutshell.
I
But
love that conversation. I have that
oh,
conversation a lot.
dude, and it's just what I had to say to my dad was, I know that your information comes from a really good place. I am handling this on my own. I am fully capable of taking care of myself in this respect, and this is what this looks like for me. So I'm going to continue to do what I need to do to take care of myself. But thank you. And he didn't hear that at all. He was just like, yeah, but if you would just like consider what I said. And I was like, wow, hang up the phone. Like, come on, man. I just said, was it perfect? No. But it was probably one of the first times I actually communicated to my dad professionally and politely to like shut up about it and just like leave me alone. So it was hard. And I cried after because I was really sad that he didn't listen to me. And I was like, didn't work. But it did work. It
But
just
yeah,
didn't
I'm
do
proud
it.
of you though, too. You stood up, so yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, for your needs. Yeah. So the other thing that comes up in the program a lot is that self-care to self-love. So how
Mm.
does self-care get us there? I mean, just eating right and doing, doing some exercise and, well, I think for me, it's the consistency of it. So if I walk outside and I'm walking, no matter how long I walk, I'm smelling the sense of outside. I'm hearing the noises, the birds, whatever, roosters. I rather hear roosters myself if I'm that far back. All right. So and then the just the consistency and the discipline starts putting me in a different mindset. And it feels like I'm actually giving myself some care. So I tell folks to have some intention behind that self-care. It's not just a lot of tasks that you put together. It's you give it intention that you are actually doing it to love yourself. Guys, you can say something else on how you do it, but you can care for yourself, care for yourself. So that's another way of saying it. But how I want you guys to speak to self-care, but then I also want you to speak to the barriers that come up, because we know we need the self-love, because there's consequences of staying in that self-deficit mode. You don't qualify, or you don't have the initiative or motivation or confidence to get that new job. You don't have don't do those passions and those dreams and those goals on your list. So what speak to the barriers too and the challenges. I think that I've been on the path of self-love for a while, but I fall off, I fall off, and I catch myself when I'm off, when I'm judging someone else, or if I'm beating up on myself in some way, uh,
Mm.
or feeling the just kind of feeling icky, where I don't want to get up out of bed. So I have a set of basics that gets me there fast. I hop outside, I turn the music on, I do a little reading. It takes me about 15-20 minutes. I do it 5 days in a row and I'm back. Okay. So I continue to do that. What about you guys? And of course, if that doesn't fail, I get on a jet and go out of the country, as you all know.
Go ahead,
Jamie.
Chelsea. No, Chelsea.
um, I think for me, I think it almost starts with the framing first, like with the intention, and then it goes into everything else. Um, because I work a very normal like corporate 9 to 5, except it's not 9 to 5, it's 8:30 to 6. And so the times that I have to be able to pour into my love cup are finite. So that takes me kind of knowing what kind of stuff actually fills my cup up more in terms of like efficiency. And B, like what are some things that I can almost like habit stack around both just like normal shit but like reframing it with self-love. So like for example, in the evening, or just in general, like I don't even have a set time that I shower, if I'm honest. It depends on how like ugly my hair is, if we're being real. But one of the ways that I kind of stack in self-love with like a normal shower is that if I, depending on how much time I have, it could be like a little bit more elaborate. And I call it like conscious showering, where it'll have like I'll light some little incense. I'll have some music going. I have a body brush, like a dry brush, for example, that'll help with like circulation before I even shower. It gets rid of the dead skin. But as I'm going through my whole routine, it's framed with very similar to your walks, Leslie, is like tapping into just paying attention to the minute pieces that help me come back into my body. Because the way that one of my tells that I can tell if I'm getting derailed is if I'm all up here, if I'm all head, if I'm all overthinking and there's no intuition or if there's no feeling in it, that I'm like, okay, I'm a little dry on my self-love right now. Um, so I'll pay close attention to like, what does the brush feel like on my body? What's the smell of the soap that I'm using? Can I hear what the loofah actually sounds like on my skin? Like, this actually isn't a shower anymore. Now it's a waterfall in Tahiti. Like, not just associate kind, but in the kind where I'm just paying attention to the details of what's going on. And I'll do the same thing like with cooking, for example. It's almost like romanticizing my life a little bit, but doing it with very normal shit that I do on a day to day, but just like rose colored glasses type of deal. Um, so that's like one example and for that sort of thing. And then I think my morning routine is probably the most solid, like, I guess, plan that I have in the day to like try to set me up as best I can. And it's like glass of water, my supplements, brush my teeth before I wash my face. And if I'm doing that stuff, I'm at least like getting it started in the right direction. No matter what happens in the day, at least that like starts me off. So my self-love best practices, I would say, are still in process with like making them perfect, if you will. But the way I kind of framework it is A, consciousness, B, knowing what's really efficient for me, and then C, just bookending it as much as I can. So the starting it off in the morning with that stuff, and at the end of the day, if I can either do yoga to help get me back into my body, because that's helped me a lot, or just like brain dumping. Because I find that if I don't brain dump in like a journal and just like get out all my stuff, then I go to bed with the list that I've been thinking about all day, and then I won't go to sleep right away. I'll wake up feeling anxious. I won't get as good of rest. But if I just put it on a piece of paper, it doesn't make the problems go away, but it gets them out of here. And then it helps me sleep, which is a vital part of my self-love and care routine. If I don't have good sleep, it just fucks me. Sorry. I hope you can believe that.
Yeah, yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
the other thing, what you said too, that made me think of, I have to assess my situation. So I have to get conscious in order to do that because I can go from the need can go from a bout with nature and being in nature or being with a bunch of people. And it can't be the wrong one at the wrong time because then my self-love goes out the window, right? So I have to actually be in my body to or even know what I need. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's huge. It might be a little far-fetched, but I do a lot of like cycle syncing analysis so I can track where my energy levels are going to be at like any given part of the month. Because if I overbook myself with social time when I need rest time, I am just not effective at all.
That
Yeah,
makes
I
a
feel
lot
that.
of
Everything
sense.
goes out the window if I put too much in the schedule. So,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
but the basics always come back really nicely. If I pick three or four things that always work, then I then I can get back on track.
yeah.
Any thoughts about self-care and stuff, Miss Jamie?
And stuff. Um, I was gonna say that you guys are like super healthy people, and your self-care sounds really good.
So what are you
My
saying? Have a
self-care,
few cocktails or, you know?
well,
I'm
hold
just
on.
teasing.
Let
I'm
me
just
say what I'm gonna say.
teasing.
Because kind of. So one thing, so like with my self-care, I really admire people who can find fulfillment in like taking a conscious shower or a walk or those kinds of things because I'm very jealous of you guys because that's not what floats my boat. And so like I feel like I have to go kind of big with my self-care. I probably because I like ignore it for like an entire month and then I'm like, okay, I need like half a day to just do my thing, right? And so my favorite thing used to be getting my eyebrows waxed and tinted. What I would do is like I would take like a whole half day off work and I would head up to my eyebrow lady and I'd get to my appointment way early. So I would take some time and I would go to the bar and I'd have a beer by myself. And it's not because like I need a beer or anything, but it's like just like being at the bar by myself felt so good. It felt
Like
so
quality
good to
time.
just like be around these people that I could like listen to if I wanted to. I could talk to you if I wanted to, just like whatever I wanted to do. That's the best part. And then go from there to get my eyebrows done. And my eyebrows are like super important to me. They're tattooed on now, but so I don't do this anymore. But so what I've replaced that with, because it was getting pretty expensive. Now what I do is I go onto my phone and I order from Sonic a Diet Coke with extra lime, and I get in the car and I drive to Sonic just by myself, and I go get my Diet Coke with lime, and I enjoy the hell out of it for the rest of
Yeah.
the day.
I don't drink, but
That's lit.
I do go to the bar with the good food, and I sit up at the bar
Mhm,
by myself and have my relationship skills with
mhm.
my bartender, and then people come in,
Yeah.
and then I have a little bit of social, and I really do feel like I'm the queen of the place. Okay, I do. I come
Yeah.
get all that service and all that attention, and then boy,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
Are
It's
you an
not about the
introvert or
alcohol. It's really not. It's about like just like I do feel like the queen when I'm doing that. So you're
yeah.
right. Is that Chelsea?
I was curious if you're an introverted extrovert or
Uh,
extroverted
I don't
introvert.
I'm definitely an extrovert, but I am an only child. So like if there's too much, just like get away from me, you know? So I often wonder if I'm an introverted extrovert or whatever also, but no, I'm definitely extroverted in particular. I'm just
Mm,
particular about things.
yeah. You going at like you re-getting energy by being just alone but around people. I was like, interesting.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always like that, but it's like a great, like, it's just like having that routine would like recharge me, and I'd have something to look forward to that week. And it just like, I'd leave with beautiful eyebrows and just a different person. So it's my thing.
I'm just so hooked on travel. So that's the only thing that I have usually. I always got a trip planned. I always have more than one actually trip planned, and housing in some place exotic. And I love that. That's what
Mhm.
I love too. So on a daily basis, it's a little different, and especially if I've been in the same place for one freaking year. Okay. 1 year, you guys, 1 year in one
A
place.
whole year.
Okay, so I'm not sure that I am the same person. So, but anyway. Hey, so we're time's about out, okay? So any thoughts or last thoughts about self-love or Valentine's Day?
I'm really interested to hear what other people do for their self-love, self-care, and like any rituals or routines that they do. Because I'm like just really interested in trying to see if there is something that will click for me that's not eyebrows after the bar. But I want to hear about that if we can get some dialogue going with the community.
Yeah, go down and put your comments this time. We want to hear from you. Guys, I want to hear from you because I know you all are on this thing. You're watching this thing. More guys have watched this thing than the girls, okay? So,
Interesting.
yeah, it is. So,
I like that.
Final thoughts on self-love. Mm, I think just more like an encouragement because I feel like I definitely struggle with the perfection. It sounds like we all do. Just as like a general rule of thumb with this. And I think for me, it's really important to remind myself that like I wasn't built this way overnight. This is 30 plus years of habits and thoughts and mindsets and or lack thereof, like all of those things. And so it's almost like encouragement, gentle reminder to be kind to yourself as you go throughout the process, because I'm still not like where I can see myself being, I'm still not there. So it's still just an ongoing support system, but it's almost like what kind of support would I give a 10-year-old me trying to figure out their habits? I wouldn't be like, I can't believe you don't have this done yet. I'd be like, you're doing a great job. Keep going.
yeah.
This is good.
That's a good point. That's just a good point. Thank you. Yeah. So happy Valentine's Day, and tune in to our monthly topic. I think we have our topic picked. Oh yeah. Okay. So guys, if you want to know what women think about you, okay, or what to do to get women to do what you want them to do, come back next month. It's women's, what is it? Women's History Month or something like that. So we're going to have
Yeah.
some talk about that at the end of our podcast. Okay. So we're going to talk about all the
It'll
things
be
about women.
how to manipulate women.
Yeah. All right.
Love languages.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in.
Perfect.
Catch you later.
Bye.